Growth in most professional services firm, growth creates opportunity for people and it drives excitement. One, it drives excitement because a brand new client, it's one of those things where a lot of professionals love going out and learning a new client and, get to meet new people. In some cases, if you're lucky enough to travel these days, you're going to a city and that type of thing. So there's the energy around that. And then, of course, growth creates opportunities because there's a need for people to move up in the organization. So I think that the concept of a growth culture is something that obviously all of us aspire to. Managing the growth culture in the context of a hybrid work environment is where it gets a little trickier, and that gets back to because so much of sales in professional services is relationship driven. I mean, the nature of the work that our firms do is it requires a high degree of trust, for the client to allow us in and, pull back the kimono and show us how the sausage is made. And sometimes, there's some warts there, right? And so it requires a high degree of trust. So there's got to be some time built on relationships, and that is trickier in the hybrid model. And so for a growth director in particular, trying to establish credibility, they've got to work extra hard on that. And we do give our growth directors the flexibility to make in-person trips to markets where typically we'll ask them to be smart about it and say, hey, why don't you set up 5 or 6 prospect calls for a day or two, and then invite one of the shareholders to go along with you, and y'all tag team those meetings, and something like that to try to get some good time out of it. And then the other way we look for in-person time is at the conferences and events. So, a lot of times we'll use our CRM, and in advance of going to an event, we'll send something out to all of our clients and prospects and say, hey, are you going to be there? We're going to be there. We'd love to see you. Maybe we can host a happy hour at an, offsite bar or something like that, to try to create some in-person time as well when we can't get in front of them. And then with those client account service managers that I mentioned, those are specifically, those people are responsible for making sure that we get face time with that client on a regular basis. So depending on the size of the client, revenue for the firm, we may say we need to make sure that even if they're not in our local market, you're in front of them monthly, quarterly, whatever. And so that client account service manager puts a plan together and makes sure that they're driving that and getting a shareholder in front of that client for whatever frequency that we've defined.